The golden sun spilled over the luxurious storefronts of Fifth Avenue, making the jewelry displays shimmer like captured stars. The city moved in its usual rhythm, people rushing, cars honking, the scent of fresh coffee drifting through the air. In the middle of this world of wealth and exclusivity, an elderly woman paused in front of Lester and Hunt fine jewelry. She was dressed simply, nothing flashy, nothing expensive, just a floral dress and a well-loved handbag. Her fingers tightened around the strap as she took a deep breath and stepped inside. The moment she entered, the atmosphere in the store shifted. Conversation softened. A few well-dressed customers stole curious glances at her. Behind the counter, a salesman named Michael Edwards narrowed his eyes. Tall, polished, and confident, Michael prided himself on recognizing real clients. And to him, this woman, she didn't belong. Still, professionalism was key. He approached with a rehearsed smile, polite but distant. "Good afternoon, ma'am. May I help you?" The woman smiled warmly. "I'm looking for a special gift. Perhaps sapphire earrings?" Michael's fingers twitched slightly. Sapphire? This woman? His professional mask stayed intact, but amusement flickered in his eyes. "Sapphire earrings. Of course," he said smoothly. "But I should mention, our collection is quite exclusive." As he led her to the display case, his expensive watch gleamed under the soft lighting. The old woman didn't seem to notice his condescending tone. Instead, she carefully examined the sparkling blue gemstones, her fingers tracing the fine details of the design. "These are beautiful," she said, her voice filled with genuine admiration. Michael leaned in slightly, lowering his voice. "Yes, well, exceptional craftsmanship comes with an exceptional price. These earrings are $30,000. He let the number hang in the air, watching for her reaction. The woman looked up, meeting his gaze calmly. "I'd still like to try them on." That was it, the last straw. Michael's patience snapped. His smile thinned. "Look," he said, voice clipped. "I'll be direct. These pieces aren't made for casual browsing. I have real clients to attend to." His eyes flicked to her dress, his tone filled with thinly veiled contempt. "Perhaps another store, one more appropriate, would be a better fit for you." The store grew silent. A few customers shifted uncomfortably, sensing the sharpness in his words. The old woman exhaled slowly, setting down the earrings. She straightened, her expression unreadable. But before she could speak, a low, rumbling sound interrupted the tension. The unmistakable growl of a motorcycle engine. Heads turned. Even Michael's smug expression flickered with confusion. The glass security door buzzed, and a tall figure stepped inside, removing a helmet. He was dressed in a worn brown leather jacket, his dark hair slightly tousled from the wind. Michael's eyes widened in shock, because standing there, exuding effortless cool, was none other than Keanu Reeves. And what happened next? Michael would never forget. Keanu Reeves stepped inside, his boots tapping lightly against the polished marble floor. The air in the store shifted instantly. The subtle murmurs of conversation hushed. A few customers exchanged glances, some whispering his name in disbelief. Michael, however, was frozen in place. His polished salesman persona faltered for a moment, before he quickly adjusted his tie and cleared his throat. "Keanu Reeves? Here." Keanu's eyes scanned the store, calm yet focused, until they landed on the elderly woman standing at the counter. The moment he saw her, his expression softened. Then, with a warm smile, he spoke. "Mom?" Michael's heart plummeted. A few gasps rippled through the store. A younger salesperson near the back audibly choked on her coffee. One of the customers, a man in a designer suit, muttered under his breath, "Oh, damn." Keanu strode across the store, completely ignoring the stunned expressions around him. He reached the elderly woman, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Hey, Mom. I thought you were resting today." The woman, Patricia Reeves, smiled up at her son. I was, sweetheart. But I wanted to pick out something special today. Michael's face drained of color. The woman he had just insulted, dismissed as if she were some nobody, was Keanu Reeves's mother. He scrambled for words, his usual smooth confidence shattered. Mr. Reeves, he stammered, forcing a wide, eager smile. What an honor! I had no idea. Keanu cut him off, his voice calm but unmistakably firm. No idea what? Michael swallowed hard. The weight of everyone's eyes pressed down on him. His mind raced for a way to salvage the situation. Well, your mother. She was just browsing, and I was about to— You were about to turn her away. The statement was quiet, but it carried power. Michael felt his stomach twist. No, Keanu turned to his mother, his voice softer now. Mom, did he treat you with respect? Patricia hesitated, clearly not wanting to stir trouble. It's all right, darling. It happens. That sentence hit Keanu harder than anything. It happens. Like she had accepted that people like Michael existed. People who judged others based on appearances, who measured worth by the price tag on a dress or the shine of a shoe. His jaw tensed. Then, Keanu did something that made Michael's world collapse in real time. He reached down, picked up the sapphire earrings himself, and held them up to the light. You like these, Mom? They're beautiful, she said. Keanu nodded. Then, without breaking eye contact with Michael, he pulled out his black card and placed it on the counter. We'll take them. Michael felt like he was sinking. He had just told Patricia these earrings were too expensive for her. Now the same woman was buying them, effortlessly. But Keanu wasn't done yet. His piercing gaze stayed locked on Michael. Actually, he added, we'll take everything she likes. Michael's breath hitched. Everything. The younger saleswoman, still standing awkwardly behind the counter, cautiously stepped forward. Sir, does that mean— Keanu nodded. Yes. Every piece of jewelry my mom touches today? We're buying it. A stunned silence filled the store. Michael's knees nearly buckled. But Keanu wasn't looking at him anymore. Instead, he turned back to his mother, his expression soft once again. Take your time, Mom. Choose whatever you want. Patricia chuckled, shaking her head. Oh, Keanu, you don't have to do all that. I want to. His voice was warm, reassuring. Besides, I think certain people need to learn a lesson about judging too quickly. Michael felt like he had been punched in the gut. And this was just the beginning of his nightmare. Patricia smiled softly at her son, a mixture of amusement and quiet pride in her eyes. She could feel the weight of the moment, how the entire store was hanging onto every word, every movement. But more than that, she could feel Michael's panic thick in the air. She turned back to the sparkling sapphire earrings, gently running her fingers over them once more. Then, as if sensing Keanu's unspoken encouragement, she reached for another piece, a delicate diamond bracelet. Michael watched in horror as she lifted it from the display. That's beautiful too, she mused. Keanu smirked slightly, nodding to the younger saleswoman, who was now eyeing Michael like he was the world's biggest fool. Add that to the list. Patricia, getting more comfortable with the situation, picked up another item, this time an emerald pendant. Michael's mouth went dry. The tension inside him swelled with every single piece she touched. The reality was sinking in. The commission he had just thrown away, massive. The embarrassment, unbearable. And worst of all, he had done this to himself. His fingers twitched at his sides as Keanu, completely ignoring him now, turned to his mother. Do you want anything else, Mom? Patricia glanced at Michael, her expression unreadable. For a moment, she seemed to consider mercy. Then, with a small, polite smile, she turned back to her son and said, Actually, I think I'd like to see the private collection. Michael's soul left his body. The private collection? No way. That was reserved for only the most elite customers. The kind of customers he had just told Patricia she wasn't fit to be among. His jaw clenched. He knew if he protested now, it would only make things worse. His voice was stiff as he forced the words out. "Oh, of course, Mrs. Reeves. Right this way." The younger saleswoman shot him a look before stepping forward. "Actually, I'll assist them." She turned to Keanu and Patricia with a bright smile. "Please, follow me." Michael could only stand there and watch as they walked past him, straight into the section he had once believed Patricia would never belong in. The doors closed behind them, leaving him alone in the middle of the store, drowning in his own humiliation. And that's when the final blow came. A customer, a man in his 60s, wearing an elegant suit, had been watching the entire thing unfold. Slowly, he stepped forward and placed an expensive diamond watch back onto the display case. He glanced at Michael, shaking his head in disgust. "You know, I was planning to buy this today." Michael straightened, desperate. "Sir, please." "But after what I just saw," the man scoffed. "I think I'll take my business elsewhere." And just like that, he turned and walked out. One by one, others followed. Michael stood there, staring blankly as customers trickled out of the store, each one a silent reminder of what he had lost. It was over. But the worst part? The real punishment was still coming. Michael stood motionless, his world crumbling around him. The store, once filled with quiet admiration for him, now buzzed with hushed whispers and judgmental glances. He could feel it. His reputation, his standing, his entire sense of control slipping through his fingers like sand. But the real nightmare was only beginning. The doors to the private collection swung open, and out stepped Patricia, Keanu, and the young saleswoman. Patricia now had a small, elegant bag in her hands, the kind that only contained the most prized and expensive jewelry pieces. Keanu, with his signature calm demeanor, walked straight toward the counter, where Michael still stood, stiff and pale. Then, as if this were just another casual day, Keanu picked up the same business card Michael had placed on the counter earlier. The one Michael had smugly slid toward an actual wealthy customer while ignoring Patricia. Keanu turned the card over between his fingers, almost amused. He looked up. "Michael, right?" Michael's mouth went dry. Yes, sir." Keanu set the card back down, tapping it lightly. "Tell me something," he said, his voice slow, deliberate. "How long have you been working here?" Michael swallowed. 5 years, sir." Keanu nodded, considering this. 5 years? Long time. Michael forced a weak smile, grasping for any way to fix this. "Yay, yes, sir. I take pride in offering the best customer service to—" Keanu tilted his head slightly. "Customer service?" He let the words hang for a moment. "Is that what you call what happened today?" Michael felt the air leave his lungs. A brutal silence stretched between them. Keanu didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. The weight of his words cut sharper than any insult ever could. Michael struggled for words, but before he could stammer out a pathetic excuse, Keanu turned to the young saleswoman. "What's your name?" She straightened, surprised but composed. "Emily, sir." Keanu smiled. "Emily, you treated my mother with respect today. You didn't assume anything about her. That's real customer service." Emily's eyes widened, and Michael felt the ground slip beneath him. Keanu continued, turning back to Michael. "And you?" His voice still carried that unnerving calmness. "You made a mistake today. A big one." Michael's stomach twisted into knots. Keanu exhaled, shaking his head slightly. "See, the thing is, this isn't just about my mother. It's about how you treat people. People who you think can't afford to be here. People you assume aren't worth your time." He leaned forward slightly, his gaze deadly serious. "You know who else started off with nothing, Michael?" Michael couldn't answer. Keanu's jaw tensed. "Me." The words hit like a hammer. Michael had no response, no excuse, no way out. Keanu sighed, standing back up straight. Well, I think we're done here. He turned back to Emily. I hope your boss takes notice of who really deserves to be working here. With that, he gently took his mother's arm and led her toward the door. Michael knew. This was it. This wasn't just some embarrassing moment. This was career-ending. Keanu Reeves had just publicly humiliated him in front of high-end clients. And now, those same clients would talk. The whispers would spread. His bosses would hear. And when they did, he was finished. As the glass doors swung shut behind Keanu and Patricia, Michael stood there, hollow and defeated. And for the first time in his career, he finally understood what true value really meant.